All right, well, hey, engineering students, we are back. Where we left off last time was we ran into a problem with extruding and cutting the material away. So I'm going to delete that extrusion that I had in place. I'm going to click on to show that fifth sketch. That way I can definitely see where my outline was. I ended up moving the sketch, the image of the dog off to the side there. Okay, so I have a theory about these 7 parts that are part of my articulation. I'm going to right click and Boolean all of them and see what happens. Boolean resulted in no geometry change. Okay, so we cannot Boolean them. All right, next attempt. Let's go ahead and extrude, click remove, and I'm going to click on, again, the outline, top and bottom. So this merge scope business, that I think is important because, yeah, that's part 1. And now when I start clicking here, that's part 2. So I'm going to choose merge with all, and I'm going to keep clicking top and bottom. It's still checked, top and bottom. Okay, everything's looking okay-ish, okay-ish, okay. It's looking promising. So I'm going to go ahead and green check this. Hey, I think we solved it. Okay, so you'll notice that there are some pieces, right, that didn't get deleted, but that's okay. We'll deal with them later. So I'm going to go back up and hide the sketch 5 that I no longer want. Okay, so there are pieces that we might be able to right click and delete. Okay, yep. This one I think is going to be more trouble because there is something above it that I still want to hang on to. So I'm just going to delete 4 features and see what happens. That was bad. We don't want that. Undo, undo. So let's try this one. I bet I can get rid of it. Delete part 8. Preparing to delete the part. Okay, that one was okay. Just want to delete that portion. Oh, okay. So I just needed to stop trying to pick the features thing. Okay. So I'm going to delete part 4. No, I do not want to delete all of part 4. Okay, so we might leave that in on the bum end. I'll let you experiment with that later as needed. Okay, but there are some pieces, like the pieces of the toe or the pieces of the tail, that are not connected, and I don't want to build a separate tongue and groove for them because they're so small. So instead what I'm going to do is create a new sketch right on there, and I can either add a curve or I can add a spline, and I can just go ahead and connect the 2 pieces. And to make it stop, I think you'll have to like double click. Yep. So a double click will make it end. And then again, you can, put as many spline points on there as you want, and then double click to make it end up. But we will have to click the use or project tool because we'll need to utilize these lines or these segments to actually make this a closed shape. Okay, so just do that between like any of these kind of missing parts. So yeah, there we go. So just trying to connect and make it look like, how it should look or how you think it should look. And you can certainly, go back and retrace if you would like to retrace. And then once again, we need to use or project so that this turns gray. Okay, so we've got the paw finished. Next up would be the tail. So yeah, just connecting where you feel it would work best. Right, and again, fast double click on the end to make the spline end. And then be sure to project or use to turn that gray. Okay, so I think all my pieces are connected, and so now I am going to extrude these 3 spaces. So extrude, I want them to go the other direction, and then the width, I'm pretty sure I set it at 10, but I'm going to go ahead and select up to face and just choose a parallel face that I want them to make sure they're as thick as, and green check. And so it did create them as new parts again, which isn't a big deal, but if you want to try, you can choose add instead. Some merge with all. Ah, yes, that merge with all button. Boy, we gotta have that. Okay. So once you've done that, then all the pieces are connected, and I think this is gonna work just fine. So I guess we did need at least the peg portion here, because that's the only place that my tail is connected to the top. So I guess we're gonna need that. Okay, otherwise we could connect the tail under here and maybe do something differently. Okay, but that's the idea. If you decide like, hey, my object looks a little too chunky, go back and fix that very first extrusion and maybe make it 7 millimeters instead of 10. It's up to you how deep you want yours to be, but this is what that would look like. So I do intend to 3D print all of these. So this time, because we have so many different parts, but we want them all to come in as one thing, right-click on the tab and choose Export, and then be sure to select STL, and be sure to change your units to millimeter, and then click on Export, and then email me that file. So this is how it looks when it comes into my slicer. When you send me something that's the right size, it comes in automatically with whatever size it needs to be. And then this looks good, and you know, the legs are different heights, so it might not actually stand up or stand flat, but it may. And then I rotate it, and I move it to the front of the build plate, and usually to the side where it's a little more level. And then this is how it prints. This is the file that I end up sending to my 3D printers. So this is the scoop. This is what I will print for you, and you will have your own articulated object.